Hello and welcome to season 4 of Own Your Divine Light show. The show is called Accelerate Your Ascension During Times of Chaos and Pandemic. And I'm Isla Serona Miller, my magical name, which is of Janet. And I was given this name by Spirit, and I'm stepping into it now, and I'm learning to embrace it more and more. So I wanted to bring it into this show. And we have all been going through so much, and it feels like things are lifting. Yet on the horizon, there is so much unknown. We are meant to create a new way of being and to support everyone listening. I have picked guests that will be stepping into and serving to create our new ways of being and our new earth, because there is no going back. And today's guest is Lizete Moraes. And Lizete is an international best-selling author, a retreat leader, a transformation alchemist teacher, and creator of the Arise system. She supports women leaders to create the unique ecosystem they need to step into to complete alignment with their natural leadership and create their biggest and bold contribution in a natural way. As it is her passion to guide others to live, love, and lead from wholeness. And she does this through creating her transformational experiences and unforgettable retreats in paradise, online one-to-one coaching journeys, and online group coaching programs. And I know she lives in Costa Rica, which is paradise. Welcome, Lizete. It is so wonderful to have you here, as we are so ready for some of these fresh ideas and new ways of being. And
Yes,
I am so excited to have you here.
So honored to be here, Janet. Thank you.
Thank you. And you talk about this critical ecosystem. So I wanted to just go right there, because as women leaders, we need to thrive at this time. So what is the ecosystem, and how does that relate to women thriving?
So it really is, for me, a new paradigm of leadership, of development. All the women I know, the ones I'm connected to, are all heart-centered, passionate, powerful people that know that they've got something, they can sense that potential to bring it out. So the old way is we have to work really, really hard. And we've had eons of experience of this myth, and it hasn't been a myth, it's actually been our struggle, to have the freedom and have the power to bring that which we are. I believe now we're in a critical time where that is shifting. Not only are we needed, we talk a lot about the divine feminine rising, but what the feminine actually is so different to the masculine that I think in our development journey, we still mix up the two. Mm-hmm. Being in the jungle for 2.5 years, building an off-grid homestead, living as naturally as possible. One of the things that Mother Nature taught me was everything that thrives in an ecosystem. And what I've seen is that as women, in my own journey and that of my clients for the last 13 years I've been teaching this, is that we try to thrive through doing. We don't actually are consciously aware of how much am I supported? How much am I actually carried? In this new paradigm that we're moving into, rather than trying to get this thing that's outside of me to make myself interesting or more impactful, or rather, the journey is how supported am I to actually just be the natural being that I am.
Yeah, and that's so perfect, because this is what women, we didn't understand. I mean, I don't think we understood that way back when. I mean, we always thought we were the supporters, so we gave it all away, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, and myself, I know I did the same. And we have children, or we just have partners, and we're there. So how did this lead you to that conclusion? And I love the ecosystem, so I'm going to talk a little more about that with Costa Rica and how you were guided to be there. But how did you get to this discovery?
Well, the amazing thing is, of course, I did it. I did it the hard way too. So I was a corporate
the only way.
15 years career, and made it happen. When I finally, but I was always driven by this real wanting to have an impact. And I thought, okay, if I get to a certain level of leadership, then I can have an impact. When I got there, though, 80% of my effort was all around navigating politics, covering my backside, and it wasn't exactly what I'd hoped it would be. At the same time, I was burning out, severely overweight, incredibly in my masculine side, and so very unhealthy. And my 15-year marriage was falling apart. So that for me was the moment where basically I know now that life was saying, honey, not that way. It wasn't that I was being punished. It wasn't that I was good enough. It certainly wasn't that I hadn't worked hard enough. It was just showing me not that way. That was when I started understanding this journey of wholeness, which is what I really teach now, which is not connecting. So it is really connecting with the essence of us. So I was kind of on the right track. But when I wanted to start bringing this out and it wasn't really working, people weren't really understanding wholeness. It seemed so big. It is because like wholeness is what we naturally are. We have natural medicine. We have magical gifts. We have powerful intuition. And all of that wants to flow. So this is some of the pressure that we're feeling. If it's not flow, we're feeling that pressure of potential. Almost as if you can imagine the whole tree is in the seed. So that if it's not allowed to become a tree, there's going to be tension. There's going to be pressure. And this pressure is actually our real voice, our real essence wanting to come out to play and serve and do what it's called to do.
Wow.
If we don't listen to that tension, if we're not listening to that voice, it will have a tendency to kind of shatter the structures that we create. And why? Because it's not in alignment. It's not in alignment to our highest.
Yeah. Oh, you're giving me chills. I'm like, oh my gosh. And you were so ahead of the time. You were really ahead of the time. That's why people weren't ready for you. I think because we're just talking about wholeness now. I mean, they talked about women, women when I'm a little older than you. So women were in the 60s, well, 70s was the big era. Women were really stepping out to work in the workforce. They weren't, they were leaving home. And if you worked out of the home, that was very unusual, but they were really guided towards being in a masculine role. It was just women putting on pantsuits and, sitting behind the desk. And I'll tell you, I've had some women, and I was a nurse and I work with a lot of female doctors and things, and they're a heck of a lot tougher than the men.
Right.
I'll tell you, they certainly took it on. And women, when we do it really full on,
We do. We're incredible.
Yeah.
We're incredible.
Superwoman. Remember, everyone was expected to be a superwoman. They were expected to go to work, juggle that 9 to 5 job, and then come home and do the wash and cook and clean and be the wife. And the husband was still not quite there yet. It was still new to them too. They didn't know how to handle it. It was early, and now we're into this whole new realm where the men are so stepping up. And even, if your husbands have evolved with you or your partners have evolved with you, then they're stepping up and being equal partners with us, which I love, which I think is so exciting. And what you're saying is, it's so true. And I love that you were so ahead of the time. So, so it's a different paradigm of women leadership that we used to be into. And now, what do you think is next? What do you think that women are meant to do now? What do you feel their leadership is?
Well, it's really interesting because as I definitely know that we talk of unity consciousness and we talk of oneness, which I'm completely on board. What I do know, though, is until my human actually stands in wholeness, I can't truly experience and play with oneness. Oneness seems a very far abstract thing. So wholeness became for me the quest, where it was which part of myself has been forgotten or broken or traumatized or laid dormant. And the beauty of this journey is that life is the master. We are the masters, but life is our teacher. And it will literally create situations and everything in our life. If we want to believe that everything in our life is a direct reflection of our consciousness and the momentum that we've created, it is always perfectly right. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's perfectly right. Because this moment is an accumulation of all of our belief systems, and life is constantly showing us you can take back your sovereignty. You can take back your sovereignty. Unfortunately, many of us haven't been taught how do we take back our sovereignty then. A beautiful example is I was working with one client who came to me after 2 years of working in a company. She was a VP of marketing. She was, a board of directors, very, very competent, capable, incredibly intelligent PhD, and a lovely, lovely woman. And she had this boss who she couldn't understand. Their values were completely disconnected. So she had spent 2 years trying to convince him, trying to change him, trying to navigate around him. And when she came to me, she was exhausted, burning out. Mm. And when I asked her the question, why don't you move out of the company? She said, I do not believe that I will get this level of pay at another job. And I said to her, this is your only issue. We are not responsible to change everyone around us so finally we can feel good. We need to only deal with the issues of why am I not free to be myself? Yeah. And very often, and this is what led me to the ecosystem, I said, because to be myself, I need to have a level of safety.
Oh, that's the word, isn't it?
It's the word.
Yes.
And when you see a woman who is safe and feeling great in her own skin and connected to her purpose, you have met a force of nature to be reckoned with. And it is not a forceful or angry or aggressive power. It is a very silent, very present, very loving surety. And this is what I understood. I don't need all the tips and tricks and da-da-da. I need to first know what is this magic within me, love and accept this magic within me, and then find the safety to know I can be that. And that is our work. That is our journey.
Oh, that is so true. The safety. I mean, yeah, I was working with someone and the first thing I said is to be safe.
Yes.
And you just said that. And I'm like, that is the truth. We need to feel safe. Otherwise we can't flourish.
And as sovereign beings, if we look at our journey, we have looked to everything and everyone to give us safety.
Yes, we're always looking outside. So I know your system, your program, which is just amazing, is helping women so well. So your program is called Arise. And yes. How is this working with that? How is this bringing the women into wholeness?
So it's actually inspired by a tree. So maybe I will be able to explain that best by using this metaphor. So if you can imagine that state of being of absolute surety is this beautiful, huge tree in the jungle. As I said, I've been teaching wholeness for 13 years, developed Arise maybe 7 years ago, which is the technology that I use to transform. But this tree really brought it home for me. It was last Christmas. I'm with this tree. And I noticed that the elegance and the majesty of her was just beyond. And I was really sensing her. And when I looked at her and I said, how do you get to be this? Because this is what we long to be. We long just to stand tall and share our fruit. That's essentially what we're doing. And I noticed this tree actually only had 3 things. She had really good soil she was planted in. So that in my leadership model is what I would call awareness, where we go under the soil, where we go into the ground. Very often we want to know who we are and what we're going to do and how it's going to work out. And we're trying to figure it out mentally, but that's actually not how nature works. How nature works is the seed goes in the ground, in the womb of the mother. And it needs to be in soil that has enough nutrients, that is healthy, that is fertile, that is rich. And then that seed, the crust of it actually will break open. So we don't like this breaking open. Many of us have experienced that as dark nights of the soul. What is literally happening, though, is that the ego death, or the story of the avatar of who I was and who I needed to be with, where I needed to live, all that pretty story that we create, the divine within us is saying, not that way. So it's got to break open the seed, and literally the seed dies so that the plant, what we actually are, can start coming. So she needs the soil. The second thing we need is water. That's it. So a flow of water. And we all know when the water is flowing in our world, right? When the inspiration is flowing in our world. So we want to learn how to activate the water and flow in our world. That is the second phase that we go through. And then you'll notice that as the soil and the water work together, the alchemy and magic of life will make sure that that little seed allows the plant to come up. And then she breaks the ground. And as she grows, she still needs a little bit of protection. And that's why I love running my programs in groups and masterminds, because we create that safety for that birthing to occur.
Absolutely.
We break ground. Yeah. And then here comes the third thing we need in the ecosystem, which is light. Do we have enough space and enough sunshine just to receive that, right? How do we stay in that consciousness, in that light, in that alignment? And that really is alignment. And then it keeps growing. And what's beautiful is these three are an interchangeable system that we keep growing through awareness, activation, alignment. Awareness, activation, alignment, creating kind of a vortex of development. And this is the ecosystem.
I love that. I love that. And I'm thinking of what we're in right now, because the show, well, two things. You're so in alignment with what I developed the show for, calling Own Your Divine Light. The reason was for me to also keep stepping into my divine light, but to also bring that out to all the people watching, women and men, you know. And I just love, but the women, you know, because we're women, we connect with the women so well, because we know the best. That's who we know the best. And
I work with many men as well, which is really interesting.
And there are so many men that are so connected to the feminine side. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Yes. The younger men, you see more and more being more willing to let go of those old paradigms of the masculine. And so yeah, I love that. I mean, it's so powerful. And I had another thought. The thought was how much we were in alignment. And then you talked about, and then the chaos in the world, how much that is causing us to break open again, right? Into this new being that we're meant to be, into this new earth, if you want to call it. I mean, you can say that it's kind of a new earth, because nothing is ever going to go back to what it was, because you can't go backwards, because why would you want to anyway? There's too much chaos there that was not working anyway. So we're learning what's working. Well, we don't even know exactly what's working yet, because we're still in the unknown. It's still developing. Like with you, the seed is bursting and it needs that little bit of shelter. So having this kind of a program is so powerful for women to step into, who need that intimacy and need that special safety. Because I know for me, I love that kind of group. I feel so connected to women when I'm in a group like that, and I love it. And I find that you can really get vulnerable, and it allows you to see things that you weren't willing to look at before, because you feel the safety around you.
Exactly.
And it clears all the stuff that you didn't even know was holding you back.
Exactly.
It's that unconscious part that we didn't know about, right?
And we all have it. I have it. You know, I actually was just doing a podcast on the journey of the seeker and the teacher is one and the same. I have been a seeker my entire life, and most seekers are seekers. And as I started stepping into leadership and teaching what I knew, it wasn't because now I have it, I've got it all figured out, I got it. This is the biggest mistake. I will always be a seeker. And what is so beautiful about that is that our memory, our journey as sovereign beings, and each client that comes to me is not a lesser or and this, they really are, in my world, we are sisters and we are brothers, and that is it. There is no higher or lower for me. What there is, though, is that there is a sharing of what has worked and what has propelled us forward into greater wholeness, greater bliss, a stronger state of being. And that pieces of that wisdom will resonate, because each of us are on this very well, there is, of course, absolute light, but there is also a very unique journey into the light, right? So I don't judge how fast or slow, or I just tend to be very impatient. So I move fast.
Well, don't we all at this point? We're all like, okay.
We got to, right? We got to. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. And what I'd love for people to know is, and this is what I found with all my clients, is that whatever isn't right is not so much about what's outside of us. It's that somehow we are disconnected from the true source of our power, and that makes us feel very afraid. And that fear dominates our world, where we actually go into the mental instead of actually being in spirit, being inspired, and being guided effectively.
Oh,
and that's all I can teach you to do. And that's all you need, because once you got that, then you got you, and then you've got it all.
Yeah. And it's true. I love that you said the seeker is a teacher. And yeah, I've always been a seeker myself. And now I'm stepping into more of a teaching role. And it's like, wow, I didn't see that coming. I mean, I didn't think I didn't ever want to teach, but yet it's here and I love it. It's, it's challenging sometimes, as you say. We don't know everything because our journey is still continuing. It's ongoing. And whatever we're learning, it's almost like, I always say this, the people behind me are right there ready to learn from what we just learned from, or they have something to share that's going to open another door for us. I mean, we're really, everyone's so unique, and we're finding out how powerful we are. I mean, this is what I'm seeing, that with these choices that we're getting in this new situations in our world right now, it's giving us so many choices, and you really have to stand in your sovereignty. I mean, they're not letting you you can't waffle anymore. There's no more waffling.
There isn't any waffling. And I noticed that the search is for truth, primarily, and I'm trying to understand what is the truth. But I remember way back when I first started, maybe 10 years ago, I started speaking in groups, and I had this download about something, and I can't remember what. I'm in a group of women, I'm sharing it, threw away my notes that I'd prepared, and I just shared what I received the night before. And as I'm sharing, they all sitting there going, yeah, wow. And I was like, sisters, is this true? And they're like, absolutely true. And I said, have you heard anyone else say this? Never heard it. And then I said, how do you know it's true? And they said, because I can feel it. I said, yes. So we do not have to wait. If you're hearing something and it's not moving something deep within you, it is not the highest truth. So that's why it's beautiful, because when you know this, you never have to convince anyone or prove anything, because when truth speaks, I say, it doesn't need a name tag. When it walks in the room, it doesn't need a name tag. You recognize it, you know it, and it releases something peaceful, something blissful, joyful within you. So if that's not what any content is giving you, switch it off.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if you can't hear truth, then you need to get very quiet within yourself, because your true self will know truth when it sees it.
Yeah. And this is the gift of right now, that we've gotten quieter. Our world is quieted down so that we can step into that inner stuff, which a lot of people are not willing to do. You can see that with certain ways people are. And then other people are just diving in going, wow, I never thought I'd get this time. I never thought I'd have this moment to. And that's why so many people are waking up, and so many people are looking at the world and going, well, this isn't really what I wanted in this world. Or this isn't really what I thought I was getting here, So yeah, that's so powerful. I mean, we have to do that now. We have to look at the truth, and our truth is our truth. You can't say just because we both think some one way, someone else might go, well, I don't totally agree, which is their truth. And we have to allow that, huh?
Of course. And if we look at, for example, the jungle, as an example, as a metaphor, and we say that the whole earth is a jungle, every single plant, I mean, there is absolute law that governs the jungle. Absolute law. Of course, there's truth. There's truth that it applies to all of us. But every single plant has its unique expression and contribution. And the healthier that little plant, and the more it thrives, the symbiosis that occurs to the general well-being of all. So it is, and if the jungle understands this, if this is natural law, and this is what I love, everything that is ever going to work on this planet is created by Mother Nature. She knows how this planet really wants to run. So we don't have to be smart human beings thinking that we can outsmart that and protect ourselves from her. You see, we don't know the mother as good. So this is part of our evolution now.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
to realize how loving, how abundant, how precious she is, and how much she is waiting for us to love her back.
Yeah, I mean, that is so true, because this is what they say is we're returning back to the ancient ways.
Yes.
The ancient ways was the connection to earth, and the, you know, the different people that totally honor earth, still honor earth. You know, we have to keep, we're learning from them. I mean, we're going into the jungles, you know, people are having, you know, they're taking ayahuasca just to go into open up their minds, and they're doing other kinds of things like retreats, and like in Costa Rica, and just places that they would never think of, because it brings us back to our primal self.
Exactly. Our primal self that has been talked out of and programmed out of its harmony with life. I mean, I also used to think I loved nature, but it wasn't true. I loved nature as a manicured lawn behind a glass window with no bugs and jojos following me. but but that isn't really nature. And I think the gift of what I've experienced, and not everyone just needs to go live in the jungle for 2 years, certainly, but it was my gift. It was my journey. And the lessons and the wisdom that I've learned from harmony, and how little we need, actually. And the truth of abundance, of, you know, growing our own food and knowing I'm nurtured and cared for. There is natural law, and it is here to serve me.
Yes, yes. I was just listening to someone saying, if there's a certain plot to grow a family, you can grow it in your apartment if you had to
Right.
survive. We could do so much that we've given up because
Yes.
we've relied on all the others around us. So that's why this time is so important, that we're learning that we have to look at ourselves to be the ones
We
to
are the answer.
create our life, and to create the way we want our life to be, and the way we want our lifestyle to be, and our own health. I mean, our health is key. Our health is key.
Our health is our wealth. Absolutely.
Yes.
And what's also beautiful is many people see me and they'll see pictures of me in Costa Rica and they're like, yeah, if I was in paradise, I'd feel great too. It's not true. When I first got there, even with the long journey of wholeness, even teaching wholeness, when all the distractions left, which is one of the blessings of COVID, when we had to get still for a bit and we weren't allowed to distract ourselves very much, that inner voice, that inner state of being comes out to show itself. And if that is not okay, it doesn't matter if you're in Hawaii, it doesn't matter if you're in Bali, it doesn't matter if you're in Bora Bora, if you have torment within you, that torment is going to come out and play. So the work is still the work, regardless. I'm in Portugal now, for example, and my state of well-being is 100% my connection with Mother Earth, with Father Sky, with my inner being, and staying in alignment to express my truth. Now, how I did this from where I come from is the only things I can teach, because that's what worked for me. But the insights of that and holding the space for that for other people is very powerful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. It's so wonderful. And you're always going to attract the people that, you know, are in alignment with you. That's how it works. So I think this program is amazing. So, and you know, they're talking about the inner self, you're encouraging self-love. And, you know, I just think it's just exactly what we need right now. And these are the tools. So, do you have any message for the listeners that you'd like to give right now for, you know, 2021 right now, 2022, anything you see going on that you might want to, that, I don't know, just something that you think is important that people may not be aware of yet, or that you know, you're learning. It's your wisdom.
Yeah, you know, it's what I'd love to share with them is trust your knowing. Listen to your knowing. If something doesn't feel right, it's not right, you know, and be willing to go there, to look at that, to honor yourself enough to say, I don't have to hide out and wait till this passes. I don't have to wait for anything anymore. This is our call. This is our call. Everything that we've gone through in our life is for this moment. And every single human being has a spark of the divine, has a certain medicine, has a modality, has wisdom, has fruit that is here to replenish and to feed and support other people. And our work is simply to allow ourselves the journey to let go of all our past trauma, to heal ourselves from that, to understand that there is a healing process, because we have been almost like we've kind of felt abandoned most of our life. I mean, when I started understanding the ecosystem, I was amazed at how very little support I'd ever received for my true essence to be here. And the sadness of that, and even with amazing parents and amazing relationships, it's like, no, they didn't really see who I was, and they couldn't have seen. So we have to be that mother, father, healer for that part of us. But we can let that go now. We have cultivated these gifts, and now it's go time. But the go time is not in a rebranding. Sure, we can get to branding, but let it be of essence. Let us not now go and create another avatar. I've seen that too. People that have awakened to a degree, and now they create another avatar. Now I have to walk around like I'm an Amazonian, for example. It's not true. We lose the plot again because we are so busy in the form of what spiritual looks like. This is real time now. Now is where we hit the ground. And really what I've seen is that life has come to a place where it says, I am no longer allowing myself to create this other avatar, to have to then work very hard to sustain this thing that I think I'm supposed to do. I am here to tell you, if you are a lemon tree and you trust this process, it should be easeful to be who you are. Simple. But if you ask a watermelon plant to create a lemon tree, now we've got a problem. So we need, if your life isn't working, it's simply because we haven't come into that clarity of who we really are.
Yeah.
Yet. But the technology is here, the wisdom is here, the help is here, and it is time for us to be seen and fully supported. We need every single plant to come into their fullness so we can create that symbiosis, that diversified jungle of incredible, beautiful plants that are expressing their true self.
Oh, wow. That is such a beautiful message, because yes, that's exactly what we need to hear. That's exactly what, everyone needs, that support in this way, because I agree with you said that, I didn't have the support either growing up.
None of us
did. Good. It all looked real good, but it was nothing good going on.
On the inner side.
You're right. And I was just lost. I was a lost person. And so I had to find myself. I think that's what we're all doing. We're finding, as you're saying, we're finding ourselves with the wholeness. It's all about the wholeness, and to love all the parts. We've made mistakes. We've done things. And you know what? It's okay. It's part of the journey.
There's complete forgiveness. And there's complete forgiveness. I mean, in wholeness, I love wholeness because the essence of nature is wholeness. And there is absolute forgiveness for all of that. It is a fresh new day every day. If the Bible says that, there is fresh grace every morning. So all of that is gone and forgiven every day. It is only us that perpetuate the same thing over and over again. But we can break all of those things. We really can. And what I love about us is that even though we felt lost and we navigated into the lower matrix and we went through all of these energies, we always, some way, remembered that's not right. There must be more, and I'm really about love. So some way we never forgot.
So
we
true.
Didn't know the way, but we were hanging on to that silver cord that was of our lives depended on it.
Yes. I feel the children going up and down. Yes. Oh, what a truth that is. That is such a truth for me as well. And I think many listening out there. So, oh my gosh, that was amazing, because I love that. I do. I don't want to say anything because it was such a beautiful, beautiful words that you shared. Thank you. So I know that you have a special gift
I do.
that you'd like to tell us about and a
Yes.
special offer. So I would love you
So
to share.
I'm offering a 30-minute leadership ecosystem clarity call with me.
Yeah.
And the reason I love connecting with people like that is in that session, what we're going to do is we are going to work on clarity and calling. And we're going to kind of check the health of your ecosystem in those 30 minutes, because I know exactly what I'm looking for. So many masters will have so much of what they already need, but they need to make sure that they are fully supported. And we are not used to understanding, are we fully supported, yes or no? So in this 30 minutes, we're going to be looking at the health of the ecosystem and getting real clarity on your calling. So many people in this time are asking me, Lizete, I want confidence. And I will say to you that once you are very clear on a cellular level, not on a mental, but on a mental, emotional, energetic, spiritually, and soulful level, on what your calling and purpose truly is, confidence is a natural byproduct. Natural. If we do not have confidence right now, it is because we are not clear yet. So this is the greatest gift. My time of 30 minutes and the tools that I've accumulated and served so many women with, to serve people to just pinpoint, it's this. And it, even if it's not the full clarity of the calling, it'll be the fullness of the clarity of the next step.
That's amazing. That is so fantastic because yes, if your life isn't flowing, the clarity is so important. It's just so important. And then I know you were offering a paid gift as well, an offer that people can take, which is really special, a 6-week journey.
It is a 6-week journey, and it's a 6-week journey like, and I absolutely love this because we do come as, it's for women leaders. So this is for business owners, entrepreneurs that own their own business, coaches, consultants, artists, and they know that they called to use their gift as a full business. And also career women, so corporate women. I was a corporate leader myself for 15 years. I love corporate women. Half of my clients are corporate women, but they no longer want to play by the old rules, and they understand that they are the medicine for their team, for their organization, and they're willing to go there with themselves to have the courage to find that voice and that power. So this is a 6-week journey. We will literally go through my leadership process in a 6-week journey of awareness, of activation, and of alignment. And it will give people a taste. Of course, I run a 1-year mastermind, but that is really by application only. Right now, it is pretty much filled up, and I'm not taking a lot of one-on-one clients unless there's a real match. But people can, of course, also apply for that. But this 6-week journey is going to be a beautiful kickoff for people to realize, like, okay, we'll pick one thing, and we will start building the ecosystem from there.
Wow, that's really special. And people who want to be an entrepreneur, that's also helpful, isn't it? Because
yes,
I know
there's people that are in transition.
Yes, and like me as an energy worker and a healer and all that, I didn't know a whole lot about business because business was not my thing. So I've had to take business courses because it was just so foreign to me to run this kind of thing. So it's just, and it's still something that I step into, and it's not something I enjoy. So it's just part of the journey. But you know what? It's also part of being the creator that we are, and the being sovereignty, and to own the power that we're meant to be. So it's a powerful offer. Thank you so much, Lizete. I really appreciate that. Everyone's going to love that. So I want to thank all the, oh, I'm sorry. What happened here? I want to thank the listeners. Something just went wild there. I just lost you for a minute. I'm sorry. Did you see that?
No, we didn't see anything.
I felt like I lost you. So I just want to thank the listeners for, being here, and for all, we love comments. And I always ask, if you have a comment, please email us at ownyourdivinelight.com. And all the info about Lizete's, the offers will be in the bottom of this on the email that you get for the show. And we love to hear any comments, and I always send them to the speakers. So Lizete will get any comment you have. And you have the most beautiful speaking voice, Lizete, and I am so
thank you.
So beautiful. It's just like soothing. It's just soothing. Something about it. It's just beautiful. And I want to thank you, Lizete, for stepping fully into your role of developing the self-love, which to me is number one. It's been the hardest
Oh,
thing.
it's the first step. Absolutely. You can't go far without that.
Yeah. And then bringing your discoveries to women who are struggling with their leadership, because leadership, women don't think they're leaders half the time because we've always been
And
followers.
we are powerful forces of nature.
We are. And, most of the men have a strong woman behind them.
Yeah,
And
of course.
and the women have other women, and whatever your partner is, you're usually, we always have a strong person behind us.
Yes.
So you shine your light so brightly, and so much, you bring so much joy. I can just feel the joy from all that you're sharing. Thank you so much. And you're easing the way to create our wholeness and the new ways of being, which we can only have dreamed of. And now we're starting to create this. So thank you. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Janet. Thank you, everybody.
it was such a pleasure. And I am Isla Sarona Miller, and I will see you on the next episode.